At ease, brothers. Man, I want y'all to do me a favor before you go to bed tonight, man. And I'm not sure what time you're watching this video, but it is currently 5:21 a.m. I believe it's Labor Day. Before you go to bed tonight, man, I want you to tap into your superpower, bro. And the reason I say superpower is because I was sitting here thinking this morning, and I was just thinking about a lot of the things that hold people back, whether it's from success, whether it's from finding peace, whether it's from finding some level of happiness. And to be honest, man, it's not the barriers that most people think. Like a lot of people can say, oh, well, man, I haven't tapped into a level of success because my skin is a certain color, or because I don't have the degrees that everybody else has, or I grew up on this side of the tracks, or I grew up in a small city, or I grew, all these other elements. But I'm going to tell you this, bro. The thing that's holding the majority of people back, man, is their attachment to their past. So when I say I want you to tap into your superpower, man, I want you to go inside of yourself, man, and forgive a lot of things tonight. Before you go to bed, man, I want you to just sit still for a few minutes and go back a few months, go back a few years, go back as far as you can and think of every single person, think of every single scenario that you still have an emotional tie of anger to. Because you have to understand this, bro. You cannot move forward if you still have that emotional tie to the back to your past, that anger to your past. Like, in other words, what I'm saying is you may be getting them every single day, man, and going through the correct motions, whether it's the whole meditation part of life and trying to find that, whether it's you actually putting in the work. You have to understand, man, that if you still have an emotional tie of anger to your past, bro, it's like you're literally trying to pull a 20-story building along life and trying to win at life. Like, it's almost impossible, man. So when a lot of people are saying, hey, man, I can't find happiness, I can't find love, I can't find financial peace, I can't find a certain amount of physical health, bro, a lot of that is tied to our past. So what I'm saying is, man, go in your mind, man, go back to, your fifth grade teacher, Mrs. Bates, that did you wrong, that called your parents and was making stuff up, that still has a scar on you, man, and say, you know what? Like I forgive this person. Like, it's all to the good. Like, just some stuff you got to just charge to the game, man. Some stuff you have to just charge to the game. But you have to forgive, man. Even I'll say this. Like, even a lot of us have, we can call it trauma. We can call it whatever we want to call it, man. But a lot of us still have anger ties to our parents, bro. Like, of course, when we're all young, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9 years old, our parents are like flawless. But once you get of age, man, and you really can look and say, you know what, my parents are human. Like they're not doing everything perfect. There's a certain part of your life, man, where that can scar you. And a lot of people will take those scars and live their whole lives with it and just go around damaging other people or be in a situation where they can't find peace. So you have to forgive that, man. You have to forgive that company that came in and laid you off when you were the top employee. You have to forgive that, man. You have to forgive, those partners you grew up when you were young, man, that maybe, crossed the line, man, or did something wrong or a lot of times we got to forgive ourselves because a lot of times we did certain things, man, to cross certain people, man. I remember about, I say 2 years ago, I don't know, this might have been 3 years ago, I can't remember. But I remember, man, when I came into a level of understanding about myself, I don't know how long ago this was, this might have been 4 years ago. Anyway, I came into this understanding about myself when it comes to relationships, right? And I remember when I went through this, what I'll call healing, it was really just the understanding, man, that the world was just a mirror of me. I remember calling, man, either calling or emailing or texting a handful of women, man, that I dated over the years, you know, whether we went out on a few dates and it ended up kind of toxic. I was on some toxic F-boy stuff. And I remember shooting them some texts, man. Some of them I hadn't talked to in a couple of years. And I was like, hey, I just wanted you to know that, you know, I was jacked up. I apologize. Like, you have to understand, man, there's just a lot of freedom, a lot of peace, a lot of healing when it comes to forgiveness, man. Whether it's you forgiving someone else or whether it's you asking for forgiveness. I remember, and the reason I was talking about that whole relationship piece, man, something I was thinking about this morning. Like every once in a while, man, I'll mention my first love, 8th grade, man, Adrian Hamilton. Fell in love with a girl, man, that 5 minutes before I fell in love with her, man, I couldn't stand her, right? And me and Adrian dated, man, for pretty much our whole 8th grade year, man. And when I say chemistry, that was the first time I don't even want to go down that road. But yeah, chemistry. So me and Adrian dated pretty much our whole 8th grade year. And the part of the story I never tell is when me and Adrian broke up, we broke up because she had stepped out with this older guy. This guy he was in high school, man. He had a car, he had all this stuff. And she ended up cheating with this older cat, man. And I ain't gonna lie, bro, that scarred me. Even in 8th grade, that scarred me, man. And one day I was probably so that was 8th grade, you know. And one day I was probably around 16, 17, because I was driving. I was probably about 16. And man, it's about 1 o'clock in the morning. And I'm coming from, I don't know where I was coming from, maybe a club or so, I have no idea. And I'm at this gas station in town, bro. 1 in the morning, man. And next thing I know, I heard the door open, the ding, somebody walking in the store. And I turned to the left, and Adrian is walking in the store, right? And we both look at each other like, dang, I ain't seen you, in some years, right? And her and I went out there in that parking lot, bro, after I walked out the store, man, and sit there in that parking lot and talk for about an hour and just chopped about, like, life back then and X, Y, Z. And she was saying, hey, I was sorry for this and yada, yada, yada. And it was like, bro, a lot of times it just takes having those conversations. But you got to understand, man, even a lot of times, even if you don't have these conversations, because I talk to a lot of guys, man, that went through a lot of rough stuff at a young age, like stuff that can scar a man for life easy. And a lot of times, man, the people that scarred you, it's not even about you having a conversation with them. It's just about you going inside and realizing one thing, man. And I talked about this in A Singular Truth. And I believe in yesterday's video, I mentioned that pasture, that healing place. Like a lot of times, man, when you think about forgiving people, one thing you got to say is, you know what? Like, you got to understand that if somebody is bringing trauma in your life, whether it's like physical abuse, whether it's, somebody's improperly, doing certain things, whether it's someone that has a habit of cheating, whether it's someone that has an abusive, you have to understand that came from somewhere. So if you're a person and you had like an abusive parent, whether it's verbally abusive, you got to say to yourself, you're like, you know what? Like, I know you weren't born with that. Like, that came from somewhere. Like, you probably saw your mom or dad do that. You probably saw, your uncle or somebody do that. They probably saw somebody else doing that, who saw somebody else doing that. And we're talking about 2 or 3 generations. So one way to heal, man, is not necessarily about having face-to-face conversations sometimes. Sometimes it's just a matter of saying, you know what? I understand that the BS that you own, like it was wrong, but I understand that it is something deep that was instilled in you. Like, it probably came from something you saw or something you experienced from something somebody else experienced. And it's just like, you know what? Let's just, like I said a second ago, man, a lot of stuff, you have to just charge it to the game, bro. A lot of stuff, you have to charge it to the game, because I'm going to tell you this. If you're trying to move forward in life, and I'm just talking about like just simple success. If you're trying to get more abundance, if you're trying to, getting better health, if you're trying to get in healthier relationships, bro, if you can't forgive those things from the past, you might as well hang it up. Because you got to understand that anger and abundance, they can't reside with each other. When you're talking about full abundance, and when I'm saying full abundance, I'm not necessarily talking about the material things. I'm not talking about, and of course that is part of abundance, but when you talk about just true abundance, I'm talking about the kind of abundance, man, where you can just sit still in a room for a day and be at the highest level of peace. I'm talking about that abundance, man, that you can't be robbed from. You know what I'm saying? I think about that movie. Was it Hurricane Carter? When the brother was in that prison cell, you know, when he first went to prison, man, he was geeking, man. He was tripping. But then he got to a point where when he was in that prison cell, the guards would be like, all right, you know, you can come out. And he was like, I'm good, bro. Like in other words, I'm not even here, man. Like, life is so peaceful. Like, all this is irrelevant. I'm talking about that kind of abundance. To get to that abundance, man, anger cannot reside. Anger cannot reside, bro. So if you pissed off at your buddy from the third grade, he took, you know, the $1 out your lunch kit and you still pissed off about it, man, you got to go inside and forgive that, bro. You have to go inside and forgive, because what that's going to do, that's going to throw your relationship off with every other man you encounter. You're going to say, hey, you know what? I can't really have any close partners. I really can't have any brothers in my quote unquote circle because Leroy back in the third grade took my $1. So now I'm judging every brother off of Leroy because I'm still angry. The same thing with women. You can say, man, you know, this sister cheated on me. She stepped out. She did X, Y, Z. So since she did that, now I'm going to hold every other woman to the fire. You're letting other people keep you in this emotional tie with your past, bro. So when I say it's a superpower, man, like it's literally when I say it's a superpower, like it's that thing that's keeping people held back and they don't even know it. It's the thing that if a person understands what's taking place, it becomes a superpower because very few people understand how to tap into it. Let's look at it on a grander scheme, right? How do you think a nation, right, is able to keep a group of people from really advancing as a whole? You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is, let me say it like this. Let me just say it like it is, right? One reason on why black people can't really move forward as a whole like other people can, right? Like if you look at other communities, man, if you look at I'm gonna tell you this, like if you look at like the Hispanic community, brother, they are a unit. They are a unit. When you look at the Indian community, which is pretty much like 80% of like my neighbors, man, I heard where I'm at, they move different. They are a unit. When you look at the Asian community, they are a unit. And I'm not saying that black people aren't a unit, because because there is some camaraderie that goes on within the culture. Like there are some things and some understandings and some things that we can laugh about and all that stuff without words even being said. So it's not that there's not a connection, but one thing that hinders us is like people, in order to keep us back, people know how to push our buttons. They know how to push our buttons. And the reason we can't grow forward, like when I'm saying we have this emotional tie and anger to everything, the reason we can't go forward is because of those buttons. In other words, as long as every few months I put something on TV that's going to piss these people off, I understand it's going to stir something up from the past. I understand that they're going to start screaming racism and all kind of stuff if I just push one or two buttons. And the thing is, if a person understands that, you don't even have to hold them back anymore. Think about us being grown people, man, when we kind of tease kids and you kind of poking fun at kids, and you know it's all a game. And you might do something, man, where that child gets mad, and you just playing, you just poking fun. But you understand that if you keep doing that those one or two things, that child is gonna stay there pouting, can never go forward, will never go outside and play, will never build his Legos. You know what I'm saying? Will never exercise and get healthy. Will never do all these things because he's sitting there pouting because you're pushing his buttons. In other words, that child can't grow forward because he's pissed off at you. That's the power of this emotional tie I'm talking about. So, again, before you go to bed tonight, brothers, go inside and see who all has that emotional tie. See who has that emotional tie. And like I said, man, it may be that fifth grade teacher, right? Like I had an issue with my fifth grade teacher, man, and she called my parents one day and just, bro, literally made some stuff up. And I'm gonna tell you this, for years, man, that had a lot to do with the way I interacted at school. In other words, so from the fifth grade up, man, when I'm having problems in school and I ain't trying to listen and this, a lot of it was based on like screw them teachers, man. Like they ain't gonna do nothing but screw you, you know. A lot of it was based on that. But the crazy thing is, some years later, man, I had to be around 22-ish because I had joined the military and I was back home visiting family, right? 22, 23, maybe, I don't know. And I'm at a Walmart in Longview, Texas, in the parking lot. And I see this lady, you know, she's by herself, she's older, and I'm looking at the back of her, right? And she's putting all these groceries in her car. And I see that she only has like a few items left. And for some reason, man, like when I park my vehicle and I'm going in the store, when I see ladies, especially like older ladies, man, that have these carts and they're unloading their stuff, if I see them about close to being finished, I'll go say, hey, you know what? I'll grab that cart for you. Like, go ahead and get in your car and do what you do. I'll take this cart back to you. So that's what I was going to do. Meet this lady, man, and take her cart back for her. Lady turns around, man. Boom. It's Mrs. Bates. And it's like, dang it. And I'm going to tell you this. All this anger that I had, man, for all these years, when this lady, I'll say this, in my mind, I always said to myself, like, if I ever see Miss Bates, like, I'm going to tell her about herself. I'm going to let her know. You know what I'm saying? When this lady turned around and I saw her face, man, all I saw was, of course, my fifth grade teacher. And then all I saw was, this lady is human, man. Like this lady is human. Like maybe something happened in her life. Maybe something happened in her childhood. Maybe something happened. Who knows what it is? I don't have to know. But maybe something happened that caused her to do that certain thing that day. And I said, you know what? It wasn't right. It pissed me off. It jacked me up for a little bit. I said, but she's human, man. Let me forgive her. I sit there and talk to Miss Bates, man, probably 45 seconds, man. You know, just kind of back and forth, told her what I had going on in life. Took her cart, put it up, man. And when I walked in that store, brother, I'm going to tell you, weight on my shoulders that I didn't even know was there was lifted, bro. Was lifted. So that's what I'm saying, man. A lot of times we're trying to go forward in life, man, and there's weight on our shoulders that we don't even know, man. You still pissed off at mom and daddy and them for something that was put on them. You got to forgive them, man, so you can move forward. So you can tap into that abundance. You gotta forgive some of these women, man, that whether they stepped out on you, whether they did whatever, whether you put all that you could into some of these women and they still allow female nature to take the best part, you gotta just charge it to the game, bro, and keep on trading forward, man. Because it's all part of life. It's all part of life. It's all about a man understanding his superpower and forgiving. So all I'm saying is this, man. Understand that the primary thing that's keeping people held back, it's not the color of their skin. It's not the level of education they have. It's not the side of the tracks they grew up on. It's not that some people have certain advantages. A lot of times these things, will take place, but you can navigate around those. But I'm gonna tell you, the primary thing holding people back is forgiveness, man.